يا رسول الله يا رسول الله يا
أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته to our beautiful mothers and our fathers, our grandparents and our ancestors, our beautiful families, mothers and wives, sisters and daughters, our children, our grandchildren and the neighbors, and all the beautiful souls of this new dispensation of a new era in our journey to clarity, to a new clear, mashallah, tabarakallah. As we enhance this moment, as it is a holiday in our midst, and mashallah, it is Yawmul Jum'ah. And what is so significant is that it is the 19th of Shawwal 1446. Very much important for us to understand that there are great significance in how the times are being shifting and how the introspection is becoming more clairvoyant. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. This morning, as we are familiar with the surah of the cave, the surah al-Kahf, as we all know that it is blessed to recite it or to listen to it, and our children and our forefathers had been very instrumental in bringing these recitations to our midst. The age of the cave is what you need to understand. Who is buried in the cave? Okay. When your creator, my creator, when we speak about the glorious revealed scriptures of all the books, all the chapters, it all is revealed from the highest source of intelligence, which is the Quran. Okay, the Quran is not necessarily a physical book. It is more an astrological and quantum data field. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. It is accessible throughout civilization, but it is only mentally accessible. Okay, you can only reach that level of your acknowledgement of your ascensions, of your expansions, if you are able to as we always say, read your book of life. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Onze voorvaders het altyd gepraat van, you must read your book of life, people. Okay? Your grandchildren today don't understand this language anymore because they think the book is physical, but the book is actually in your heart. The book, the true book, the kitab, is what has been downloaded onto your memory, yani stick, before you came into earth. Okay, there has been no mistake. Your mother is your rightful mother, your father is your rightful father, your brothers, your sisters, everybody in your life is dedicated to fulfill their purpose, and as you are too dedicated in that similar areas of devotion. All right. Now, when we speak about the cave, it is the cave that you and I are buried in. Okay, we are, mentally, we are buried into layers. Okay, now, subject to the time conscious lane that you had navigated in since your birth and what had transpired in that time, that is the tunnel vision that you are supposed to have gone through so that you might lose your connection with your book of life. Okay? Your book of life has been ordained in order for you to see whether you can pass the test in earth. Okay? In this dimension, whilst you're only experiencing everything through your mental constructs. Okay, nothing is happening physically. It is only in your senses that is being activated, that holds energy, and those energy carries certain vibratory codes that gives you the spark of what you and I call life. Okay, we must still become alive. Okay, we are still going through the metamorphosis of what is it that we are living through. So as you go through the different seas, the sab'ata abhur, okay, then lenses, doors opens, comes, and as deep as you go, you can go as deep as Idris. Okay, kana وكان نبيا وكان ورفعناه makanan aliyan. Okay, if you are a deep diver in conscious, okay, in understanding purpose, right, then you have the sky, we would say the firmament is your unlimited space. Idris comes from the word darasa, and that is where the English took the word address from. Okay, Idris and address is the same vibratory composition, right? So you need to get an address. So if I must give you an address, you have to study where is your actual place of presence. Okay, are you living in the past? Are you living through your mental constructs where you believe in things that doesn't exist but only in your memory box? Okay, now most of the things that we have become aware of in our past age before COVID was for us to now decipher how aligned are we with the non-fictional part of it. You live the fictional part where you believe, you saw certain things, you saw it was his story. Now you're going back into time where you have to decode these fundamental stories that came into your life. The greatest story of all civilizations was the story of the Christ. Okay? Christ is in the organic Arabic, in the organic symphony of language and sound. It comes from karasa. Okay, karasa is a chair that resides above. Okay, so when you speak about Isa ibn Maryam, the conscious of the scene we speak about it, it is where you unveil into your next stage of your evolution of consciousness. That is actually, you are Jesus, you are Isa, because all of you have been organically, originally, yani, birthed by your mother and not your father. Okay? Remember what I'm telling you today. Your psychology through Western yani, infiltration and the conquistadors and the barristers and the yani, invaders had yani, patterned you on a patriarch yani, cycle where you believe that you are your father's child. Okay? Nowhere in the Quran, nowhere in the organic text has any of these yani, connections been established naturally except through the mother. Okay, that's why when Allah speaks about any human being and he or and it is associated to a human being, a child is associated to a human being, it is only associated truthfully and honestly with a mother. That's why the only Nabi, the only prophecy that brings you into that level of perception and of consciousness and alignment with the universal yani, laws of hermetics, of um, correspondence, is when you acknowledge that you are the child of your mother. Okay? You are the child of the Mother Earth, you are the child of the Mother City, you are the child of the Ummul Qura. Okay? The Quran gives you straight connection. Now, in your past age, in your past civilizations, people come around, civilizations comes around, and they yani, try to give you their perspective of how they understand what the text in the Injil, in the Torah, in the Quran, in the different scrolls of the Hindus and the Buddhas and all the different Southeast Asian countries, South American countries, all of these different cultures, they would exercise how to interpret the sacred or the secrets of the text. Okay, whilst knowing that everything that you analyze is only being analyzed onto the level of your perspective and your comprehension of who you are. Okay, now when you are still in a patriarch system, then you will be carrying the name of your surname of your father, because that was influenced by the Westerners. Okay, your culture, yani your natural order, your yani, natural disposition, as what you know naturally, as what you see naturally, you are yani, formatted within the womb of thy mother. Okay, you are fed yani, your nutrition, your data, your yani, your breath, everything is processed through the mother earth, yani, through the womb, the universe, the rahim. That is not just inside, it's outside as well. Okay, that's how you and I perceive these kind of data in order for us to come to further clarity. Okay, so when we say the best story that was ever written and ever sold to humanity was when the human being becomes a yani, a solid yani, individual, physical. Solid is physical. Salib in Arabic yani, means something which is solid, a sulb, okay, something which comes also from your back end, right, through your spine. Now, when you come to terms with the fact that yani, you and I have to find the Isa in our journey. Before you can get to Muhammad, before you can get to Ibrahim, before you can get to anybody else, you have to pass the stage of Isa bin Maryam. You have to go back home. You have to find the authentic yani, feminine yani, motherhood, sisterhood yani, of your nature, which is feminine. Nature is a feminine composure, okay, which Allah had created, right? You cannot see your nature, you can feel your nature. You cannot, and your mother didn't see you, she felt you. So those kind of yani, um, Mythologies, you have to connect it with your natural order, your natural eye. Okay. So when you are unable to get to that stage, you are crucified. The crux of the crucifixion of your fictional journey until now is because you have not yet escaped the artificial paradigm of not wanting to understand your true nature. Okay, so you and I are crucified, and that's the crux of the fictional story, so that you cannot realize that the child of the mother has been abandoned. It's been haunted. Okay, you are unable to find the Jesus, the Christ, whoever you're looking for out there, and that stage of your evolution, spiritually, metaphysically, psychologically, physiologically, it's all that you have to uncover in your journey towards uncovering your true purpose and your true identity and your true knowledge of self. Yani as Allah Ta'ala said, سنريهم في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم سنريهم آياتي في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين له أنه الحق. You and I are the Christ. We are in a crisis because we are unsure where we are going to pop out. Right? Now, if you are still buried in that four corners, the cross has four corners, but it's inside. Okay, it's the four corners. If you can see the actual shape of it, the four corners is in the center. Now, those four corners is where the cross, you cross over. Okay, it's in the center of this entire paradigm in psychology, right? You have to strip out of the fog of the smoke screens, okay, in order to actually come to terms with the fact that it's not speaking about a human being in the external. It's actually speaking about your personalized journey through your mental constructs. But the information that has been parted unto you has given you a double vision. Okay. Now, when you come to terms with the fact that you have to sort that and smoke screen out in order to ascertain how do you become the Isa of Maryam. Okay, Maryam is a word which is constructed of two ends. It's mar and yam. Now remember who was in the yam and who and what is the meaning of mar. Mar is to pass by, is to cross over. Yam is to cross over the area where Musa, it is in the dark, yani the fictional stage of our evolution before you come to understand that you can't love Muhammad if you don't embrace your system of why Allah created an Isa in your evolution. Okay? Isa has the ayn in it. It has the true eye in it because once you hit the Isa stage of your growth patterns, okay, now you will open up the ayn of the sea. Okay, that's the sea. That's why we say it's Aisya. It's a sea that with a ya at the end. Okay, I'm not going to go too deep into the etymology of the actual words because the word is not what you think. It's what people say it's Maryam, but you don't understand actually what is the meaning of Maryam. Maryam, as I said, it's a two-lettered word, okay, coming from the root letter mur, okay, and then it comes also from yam, okay, where you as Musa, the Musa age, like when the Muhammad went into the stage of evolution, he then has to go through the evolution where he goes up and down, because he's coming to and fro in order to establish how to get the exit, how to break out of that phenomena of the perpetual cycle of infinity and finding eternity, right? This is how the Quran has shaped your evolution and how you have to empower yourself as you are leading this journey by yourself, people. It's only in your mind, okay? It's only in your conscious levels. So once you able to break free from the dilapidated version of what Harun has decomposed in your narrative, in your storyline. Okay, you remember when Musa is your cosmological and senses. Okay, your psychic, which certain civilizations, but that is your astrological side, your right brain, your yamin. And now your left brain is obviously your Harun. Your Harun is all the time fluctuating and it is developing. Okay, at times it becomes over infatuated and fictionally composed, and therefore Musa has to reprimand, the right has to reprimand the left in order to bring the balance. Okay, so while Musa is on the Jabal here is actually your highest perception of what reality is. Okay, that's your ceiling. Now, when Musa is not able to make to bring the equilibrium into into your presence, then you are feeding from your diagnostic brains. Okay, your physical, what you have been fed from your external agencies. Okay, now you have to retain the principle. To become the principal agent in this evolution, you have to now come to terms with you have the you have stagnated, we have stagnated, we have kept a certain reality frozen through ice cubes and through evolutions which kept us into a fictional paradigm, right? We overinflated, as what we lived in a credit-based economy. Everything comes from credit. Nothing was here before you came. Okay, before anybody came, there was nothing. So the credit system has been always adopted by the external conjure of creating a reality that we have been webbed in, or we had been credited in, or we had been caught up in, right? If you are able to break out of that fictional, the crux of the fiction where you were crucified, as where your child was given up for adoption, right? You sold your child for a price. Now that is you as the Jesus, okay? That is the one that had sacrificed himself for the world. Okay, it's only you. It's only you. It's nobody else. Okay, because you have to now come back and realize that you cannot sacrifice yourself for others. You gotta sacrifice for yourself. Okay, you cannot give others priority over yourself. You cannot love anybody more than yourself. Anything that triggers you on the outside, it is a reflection of your vacuum, your emptiness, that which is that is levering fear within yourself. That is what is actually causing you to fall into those pitfalls and into those potholes. Okay, the word whole, Hole in Arabic, as per the Quran, it means fear mongering. Yawmu howlin. It's whole. It's ha wow lam. Okay, so because the frequency of the sound modulations are crossing over, but your meaning of it is contrary to what the universe and what your higher self understands that meaning to be. Okay, so now you are thinking that it's got to do with fear and it's got to do with something which is mysterious, but you are unable to access the true the true inner self, because that is where all the hurt, that is where all the fiction, that is where all the falsehood, that is where all the pretension, that is where all the artificialness has been stored. Okay, now you have to address that. That is the Idris. You have to take the Idris tool. Okay, Nabi Idris, as you know, Nabi Idris, you got to study yourself here. Darasa Idris, you got to get your true purpose, your true address in this whole journey of life, through unfolding into a blissful kind of any moment for you to acknowledge your true address in the journey of where you live internally. You only live in your mental constructs, people. It's just like that, okay? Whatever you know, it's all just synchronized inside of you. It's not outside of you. You just yani, evolve and process it. But in order to get to this level of perception, you have to be yani, passing the yam, the Maryam, okay? The yam is now where you need to restructure a true self-identity. And that comes in the afaq when you become more conscious, okay? When you become more aligned, okay? That is the actual reason why Isa ibn Maryam was preceded by Muhammad, okay? Because Isa is Ahmad and Ahmad is Muhammad, okay? But you have to decode the allegories here because it is a coded yani, journey, okay? The book is coded. It's not what you had come to believe pre-COVID. This is a new age. It's post-COVID. You have to now find new identity. COVID is co, and the V is the F. Okay, that's the split, and the ID is what you had now for the last 4 or 5 years. That is where you got a bionic or a digital ID because you are stuck on a physical realm because they are now using the Namrud, okay, the numerological order. They're using numbers to play you, okay? When a government, when presidents are busy selling premiums of how to get increase in your money, give them 4,700, they give you 21,000. People, it's only spells. Remember, wealth is inside. Wealth is not outside. It's not what you see, it's what you feel. True energy currency is your understanding of what wealth is. But since you have been caught up in the fictional reality of the first phase of the three dark nights of your soul, which Ibrahim goes through that process when he first sees the sun, and then he sees the moon, and then he sees the stars. You have to go through that. Failure for you to unfold, or for you to find clairvoyance in each stage, you have to repeat the grade. Okay, so the more attached you become into being possessed, okay, you are then jinn. Okay, you are in the dark. Jinn means the darkness. Okay, you are not qualified to come internally, so therefore you are living off that which you believe is yours, but it doesn't belong to you in your mental constructs. It's just how you have been educated. Okay. Now that is the actual reason why Nabi Isa is a stage of your evolution. You cannot adopt or love Muhammad as what Muslims are today claiming if they don't have first love for Isa. You have to pass the Isa exams, okay? The Isa exams is to go back to your home, go back to your mother, go back to your mother nature, find your true essence, find your true innate, find your fitra that you're going to find in the yam, okay? That is where Musa has to now go through the straw spells, okay? Be it the monetary system, or be it the religious system, or be it the educational system. Okay, he has to go through that, and there two mothers, two sisters awaits him. So he has to make the choice whether he's going to go for the 10 or for the 8. Okay, if you read through the passage, okay, if you get there, okay, you're not going to read the Quran as what you've been doing it in the dark ages. It has to be you reflecting your journey, because the Quran came for you, not for someone else. It's not telling you about the history of anybody else that you're not supposed to know. It's about you going through your experience of enhancing your development physiologically, psychologically, and metaphysically. Okay, and that is where you and I are stuck on that cross today because we don't know how to cross over. Okay, that is how your adversary, the aids of your our adversary or our Fir'aun of the day. Let's call him Fir'aun. Fir'aun comes from the word yani far and aun. Okay, uh, aun means aid and to escape the aid. Yani fir, fafirru, that's where the word fir comes from. Okay, you and I are going through the evolution of scripting the true meaning of sound. Okay, not as what you inherited yani, through other formats, but rather you yourself have to find the basis of the meaning of the sound. Okay, that is all inside of you. If you get your hands onto, or if you get into the stage of Isa, where you're supposed to go, you cannot get to Muhammad if you didn't get to Ahmad. Okay, that's what they call the second coming. Okay, Ahmad is the one that recognizes spiritually, physiologically, metaphysically, yani who is Muhammad, because Ahmad is the spiritual body of Muhammad. Muhammad was the physical, Ahmad is the metaphysical. Now you are in the metaverse age of psychology, right? Now you now have to find the true light inside of you here, because that is the light that is going to attract and feed you the data to give you a better view of where your address, your Idris has come from. Okay? Quran is metaphysical, it is cosmological, it is astrological. It is not now in this age. Look, we've turned fasfah. Yani you have to turn the page. If you did not in time close your last chapter, then you're going to be swallowed by your adversary at this moment in time in your evolution, as how we try to keep yani, we try to remain on the actual reality conscious line of how the evolution is unfolding since your reboost and your repatterning that happened in psychology over the COVID period. That was yani, heavenly in store. Okay, psychologically, you don't understand. Most of us don't understand it because we are scientific students. Okay, of scientific religions. Okay, so now that you are in this order and in this time of your lives, you have to start questioning why do you make yani, a differentiation between Isa and Muhammad while they are the same people. Ahmad and Muhammad are the same people. Ahmad is the alif, Muhammad is the mim, that is the and the mad, and the ha is Yahya, that is the yani, everlasting life that you're supposed to understand. Khudil ya Yahya, khudil kitaba biquwwa. And then the mad is the Allahu Samad, the sword with the mad. Okay, that is where Muhammad's allegory fits into your equation. But you cannot reach Muhammad. That's the highest order in evolution, people. That's not easy to get there. Okay, if you didn't pass through the Musa stage as what you had done for the last 5 years of your life, this was the Musa allegory. You had to strip, you had to find truth, you had to decipher how to get to the Isa conscious, to find your true eye. Once you open that eye, then you find the Rab. The Ain of the Rab is the Arab. Okay, Ain Rabba. Okay. Now, that is where you understand what is the purpose of the nukta under the bar. So when you understand who was speaking about the dot underneath, the seed beneath, that has been always there under the earth, yani where your paradise is, where it has to pop out now. Okay, many of the current yani, system that is ruling the planet at the moment is that you are in the Isa yani, transition period. Okay, you have to come out, you have to pop out now, you have to get clairvoyance of who are you, where is Allah, where are you, what are you doing. These are things that is now clouding you because you are in the collapse already. Okay, you are now getting your true currency. So physically you are taken now on the trade war path, which your adversary has now to digitally modify you to believe that China and America is having a war. But the war is coming inside because it is distracting you from the actual, your true wealth, your true sovereign commonwealth, okay, which is your, yani, it is your current. It is your current where you are in present. Current and present is the same word. It's just you need to understand why, who is the abdan, yani, aliman, who is the intelligent, yani, companion that you, or the intelligent stage that you are now going through with Khidr. You are now being erased. Everything that you psychologically believe in a physical world now has to now come out in a metaphysical order. That's what you're going through. But if you did not do sufficient homework, you're not going to be allowed into the bait. You're not going to come back home. Okay, you were supposed to, when the ship went down, you were supposed to find your house. That's why the companion, the Bani Israel in this stage of the evolution, they had to find their homes. Musa tells them, go back to your homes, find your mother, find your true mother, find your mother nature, find your mother's, yani, city. Okay, that's where you're going to find the city. Our forefathers called the great mothers, the great, yani, hierarchy of our communities. It was Wala Kharup. The city, Fatima, the city. City comes from the word sitta. Okay, so this is my city, means my complete six. Allah completed everything in six. Okay, now you are at the moment, yani, past the sixth Ramadan, and you're on the fifth, yani, meridian of your evolution. Since you were reboosted, you as a psychology, you have gone through a dark, yani, tunnel age, yani, where there was wars, there was the cutoff of the swift, okay, and now currently you're waiting sanctions to come from the head of the hierarchy, okay, that is coming into South Africa. That is definitely coming, because South Africa is breaking away from this new dispensation because they have been cleared for that new age. Okay, it's all happening inside, people. We're not just conscious. Isa is the one that brings conscious. Isa is a word, it's not a human being, it's a stage of your evolution. But because the crux of your fiction is being based on a story, and it has been monetized, okay, it is a monetary institution that actually at this time, after the Vatican was shifted, the original place of the Vatican was France, and then from France it went to Italy. This is where the actual, yani, monetary system was clouded in your philosophy, in your psychology. Okay, because I'm not going to go too deep into that now. We are only speaking about, yani, the mental evolution and your personal journey here. We're not speaking religion, because religion has been cancelled in 2019. All right, you have to rescript a narrative on a metaphysical, on a higher pitch now. Okay, because due to the fact that your children witnessed you close the highest temple in your evolution, which was a mosque, a temple, or a whatever. That's why they speak about raising the third temple. That's why Isa speaks about the 33. So you cannot pass the first three stages, yani, unless you understand who and why Isa has to come before Muhammad. Okay? Cannot love Muhammad if you don't love Isa. You cannot love Muhammad, wallahi. Because as I told you now again, yani, Ismuhu Ahmad. You have to erect. Why is meme replaced with alif? Alif is the first letter, people. Alif is Allah. Alif raises the line. Alif sets the new line timeline. Okay, the high is the Yahya, the eternal life, and the meme and the dal is the mad. That's why that is where Ya Madad comes from. Okay, that's where As-Samad comes from. Okay, this time around, how the psychology is remodeling the new universal and mind of the collective is that she's breaking up the sound patterns. Okay, it's all going to be about sound, because sound is what carries light, and light is energy. Energy is your formats of thinking, of how you are harnessed or how you hold currency. Okay, so as you get your tariffs, and in the whole of the tariffs, that's how you fall deeper into the spell, because you believe that that is truly giving you the abundance that you need, whilst the only treasure that is abundant is the treasure of the universe, which nobody has control of. Okay, as you go through the process of the Isa allegories, your personal understanding and experience of Nabi, the prophecies of Isa, the prophet of Isa, how do you profiteer from that allegory, from that stage? Then that will bring you into clairvoyance. You will now understand the picture much. Now you will be healed. Okay? وأبرئ الأكمى والأبرص وأحيي الموتى بإذن الله. Things that you never ever believed it would come into your presence in this journey, now it comes to life. Okay, that seed that was planted hidden under the ground now is going to pop out. Okay, it's now going to bring new life to the tree of life. Okay, to your ancestral tree, your family tree. Okay, you everybody has a seed. Everybody comes from a dhurriya. Okay, that's the dharra. Okay, the seed is how you can reconnect to understand the natural evolution after we've gone through the dark ages of our lives. We are now coming back into the ignorant times, because we didn't understand it. We innahu kana zaluman jahula. Okay, this is the opposite. This is now the contrast. You were in a unipolar system. The heavens are now telling you what if you reach the level of Yusuf, the the contrast of your understanding, where you thought reality was only dictated to what you were educated. A new path has opened up, but you had to do the loop of faith. Okay, since COVID, people, COVID came from Allah. It was not a mistake that came from Wuhan. Wuhan means Wuhan, who now. Okay, that's why the word Allahu. Why does it stop with the hu? And where's the alif? Because when you add the alif, it becomes ha. Now, if you understand everything as the evolution, you are in a feminine construct and in your natural order, because that is within, that's internal. As how you were born from the inside out, that's where you're going to have to return back. That is Tawbah, coming back to the mother age, coming back to the mother sensitive and sensitivities. All right. That's why it is said, Isa ibn Maryam, the one that has gone back to the feminine, to his feminine self, to his internal truth. Okay, mashallah, tabarakallah. So this is a stage you cannot jump it, people. You can't just jump to Muhammad. You're not real. Okay, Muhammad, again, I'm telling you, he's never been in the, because everything you know is only through your mind. It's only in your mental construct. It's not physical. And it's not in the dead. You only know a dead Muhammad, but you don't know an ever living Muhammad. So now when you come inside, then you have to go through the conscious steps for you to clarify what was the inconsistency of the understanding that you had in the lower dimension of psychology that you were given, and it was closed in COVID. Okay, whilst you were given a artificial intelligence system that you are now respiratorily living off, you had to swim out of that sea, because they is a donker sea. You left the river is in the Jannah, and then you found yourself lost at sea. Okay, so you were caught in the web, and now this is the entanglement that you need to understand, that these were all spells of the magicians, of those who uses words, numbers, they use a lot of things. Everything that you find yourself engaged in, you don't understand the meaning, but it has a certain vibration of energy that is knowledge, data, understanding, but your level or our density is not giving us access to come to Isa. We need to get to Isa. You have to get to Isa. Isa opens up the Ain. That's why it starts with the Ain. Okay, Ain is the eye, the internal eye. Of course, we're giving you these leads so that you do not get yourself to walk against the wall because they are building a brick wall. Okay, the wall is the fictional law that they are now imposing in a digital current. Okay, because we're in a new sea, so there's a current in the sea. So when you do not understand where you are physiologically, psychologically, intelligently, then automatically you will end up to drown as Fir'aun drowned with his soldiers, with who we are now today. And then we are now we are recovered as a vessel, and then we have to be harbored and then birthed. A birth certificate will be given to you with a number, and they will trade with you on the stock exchange because you are no longer a you are no longer um, a metaphysical conscious. You are no longer your higher self. You are now your corpse. You are considered as a corpse. Okay, that's how your financial monetary system had been running on a maritime and jurisdictional law. Okay, it's just how it is because this is the time that you had to analyze what had caused the planet to have plunged. So you have 5 years in the cycle to recalibrate these kind of facts. Okay, so these things are coming out. If you are unable to embrace it, and it is, we understand it's just how your levels of your reception is, because remember, you are what you attract. Okay, so when your density is still that low, it means that you did not read sufficiently, you did not clean your vessels to bring the life so that the ruh can revitalize your organization inside of your organs. Okay, your fear, your nervous system should have been uh, re should have been reinstalled, a new version of you now. That is the new child. That is you. You're supposed to be the Isa because that opens up that window in your evolution as you ascend. Okay? What has happened in the Jahannam, in the dark age, Jahannam means the dark age. Okay? You were given a physical and a map of what happens in a illusional, temporal, virtual paradigm. Okay? For you to believe it is virtual is how you're going to get to your true essence and identity of what you are doing and why you have come in this time of the evolution of life. Okay? MashaAllah, tabarakallah. So, yeah, when we speak about the evolution of Isa bin Maryam, it is the 12 disciples, like we have the 12 apostles here in Cape Town, and it is the different DNA and strands that you have to bring back into your order, okay, so that you can know who you are. That's important, people. Not with a birth certificate, not with a book of life, not with a career, not with a religion, not with a political affiliation. Just clean who you are, okay, in conscious. That is your purpose. If you cannot do that in this stage, and it is the age where you are afforded to do the heavens, the cosmos, the space that is hollow in your mind now. That's why you are currently living through the Holocaust, because you are being cast into spells. Okay, you are taken to a physical place where people are claiming they are people that was chosen by God. That kind of segregation is why you have found yourself with an inferior complex, and that was the spell of your own and his and institutions. Okay, this got nothing to do with the external people. Your fight is not outside, your fight is inside. You got to come to life. You got to bring yourself, because you are currently still in darkness. You got to get yourself out of that dungeon, that dormant decadence, right? Then you can start the flow again. Okay, then you can come from nahar to nahar. Okay, this again, as I always bring to your attention, it is esoteric people. It is where the high conscious people are ruling this planet. If you are unaware how this planet is actually malfunctioning because of our disconnections. Okay, but in this time, this is the return of the Christ. This is the return of the Christ conscious of how we become to return back to our organic homes. We're coming to the bait. We're coming to the original house in this time of civilization. Okay, as Allah Ta'ala says that يعني فما بقي إلا بيتا يعني من المسلمين. That's where you need to get yourself, where you have to surrender. The Islam that you're speaking about now is not ashhadu Allah ilah. You gotta surrender to your nature. You gotta understand that Allah is nature. You gotta understand that the divinity lives within nature. If you are foreign, or if you are an enemy of your own nature, if you are feeding your natural body with a chemical, with GMOs, with that which has been modified and inside of your body, you have not been eating directly from the Mother Earth, from the organic, what the earth gives you. If your body, people, if you get into the Christ, into the Isa stage of your evolution, your body works for you. This is the most advanced technology that Allah has created with His own hands, people. But because you are the slave of your body, that is why you get the diseases, because you only know you sick through your mental constructs. You were educated that way. So everything you know about you is because of your mentalism. Okay? Now that is where you are stuck, because you cannot exit to get to the next stage of understanding this evolution after they cut they cut the wire. Okay, after they close the age. That is the age we're speaking about, the psychology, because وَذَكِّرْهُمْ بِأَيَّامِ اللَّهِ. You are in the days of Allah. This is in the time zone of Allah when you live above, not beneath. Okay, because I mean, like, all the different calendars. You have the Mayan calendar, you have the Gregorian calendar, you have the Arab, you have the Persians, you have the Khurasanis, you have the Chinese, you have the Ethiopians. There's so many calendars. Each calendar tries and remains as valid to the cosmic evolution as to what was inscribed in your evolution of your journey, because you never die, people. You just transcend. You go to another stage of the evolution, but you are given insight in Earth. This is the Mother Earth where you birth. You birth your new seeds, okay, your new visions, okay. It's the only place you can do that. Failure to do that, you have to come back, because you have to get this energy in this dimension. This is where it is fueled. This is where the oil is. The oil is inside, people. It's not outside. You don't pay for oil. It is given by the heavens. Okay? That is what tini was zaytun. That's why Allah speaks about yakadu zaytuha yudhi' walau lam yamsasu nar. Okay? That's the internal energy. That's what some people call melanin, some people, but that is how the universe actually oils your rusty system that you and I had decomposed in a evolution, so that we can get to the true meaning of purpose, why you are here, who is Isa, who was Nuh. You pass through Nuh. You guys, as a civilization, in the last 20 years, you pass through Nuh. 25 years, you pass through Nuh. You pass through Ibrahim. You're going now into the Idris. Now you have been by the Ismail. How your sound modulations are being revamped, okay? And then the Isa. Isa is the big fish now. Isa is the fish now. That's why you'll find that they threw you from the river into the sea, because now you're the fish. That's why you eat the angelere vis. The Easter. The Easter actually is what comes from the word east. Just take east with a ta, so you cross the T, so you fall back into that paradigm, because the east in Allah's language there is no direction. Okay, so when Allah says walillahi al-mashriq wal-maghrib, east is inside of you, west is on lillah, in the mashriq, and the mashriq is inside and the maghrib is outside. Okay, where you see the new dawn. Okay, because remember, like, everything starts at night, right? That was the first cycle of the evolution. So when you come from the inside out, then you will understand what is the true metamorphosis of your natural conscious cycles. Okay, you don't live with dates; you live on cycles, and that's why Allah speaks about dar and dawran and daira to su. It is the the circumambulations that you are living through. So many, and over the last 5 billion years, each civilization comes and they try and deduct and deduce and find out how they can understand this journey. All of you cannot detach from your original, which is your ancestors. Okay, you cannot get truth from any other source but that which has been encoded in your DNA, which is from your ancestors. Okay, there's no other way. You're only going to be caught up in your mind if you don't get to the seed, which is the nukta taht al ba. Then you're not going to know what is idrak. You're not going to know what it is to harvest a perception, because thought is energy and you are modeled through your channels. Okay, so as to what your frequency is, that is the data that you attract currently. The universe is open, people. The sama is open. The new age is dawned. The new tabakatan, tabakan, and tabak is here. But now you and I are now going to be modulated through where is your true frequency. That is going to feed you. Either it's going to feed you with with dark data, with data that is going to make you more physically entrapped, more associated, more needing entitlement, more needing fabricated wealth. Okay, the wealth that you believed in prior COVID was destroyed. People, understand what I'm telling you. Your wealth is inside, not outside, people. What is the wealth in Jannah? If this is Jahannam, okay, which is temporal, what is the real wealth? That is what you have to understand. So your ancestors, they gave you the truth. Your mothers gave you the truth as to how they reared you, the diets that they put you onto, the orientations, the cultural orientations. You have to get to your cultural hub at this stage in the evolution. Okay, this is how Allah Ta'ala has this is how your modulation of this journey of earth is. But because of the invasions, the Gaza in Arabic means invasion. Okay, so when you are invaded, then you are placed into a tunnel vision and you become emotionally entrapped on the outside, and hence it is a reflection, a mirror of your dilapidated state of consciousness internally. This is the truth I'm telling you. Okay. Now, you as a civilization, you were given the right of exit when Musa came. Okay, when your ship had, and your psychology is your ship, and your past reality was sunk. Okay, when your satanic, and your what is the ship that went over the Atlantic, the Titanic. Okay, it had to be sunk. Okay, you and I went down. Okay, those were the least amount of baggage, affiliations, entitlements, wealth, whatever you want to call it. They could find an easy way out. That is the masakina. كان يعملون في البحر. Okay, فأردت أن أعيبها. This is Surah Al-Kahf. Right. This is you. All of you have been part of this, but you not getting it because your religious institutions, your religious institution supports your political structures. Okay, as the religious people are being financed in their mosques, in their institutions by the businessman, and the businessman is the same businessman that keeps the political parties aloof, and that is how they manipulate the financial systems. That's basically where your gods has been boarded. All right. So, guys, there is a massive shift coming in your understanding of what was your past lifestyles. And China, unfortunately, is telling you that what you paid for 20,000 rand was only 2,000 rand, whatever the case may be. But that is how your collapse is taking place, because now you're thinking, Ya Allah, I spent so much money. But you need to come to terms with there's no way that you can reinvent that past age. You cannot go back again. Now, when you go back again, that is where you are becoming فخلف من بعدهم خلف أضاعوا الصلاة واتبعوا الشهوات. You're going to go back again into an age where the lights were switched off, okay? And you had the right to make the tahweel of the Qibla. You could find your new Aqsa in your evolution of your purpose, okay? That is currently as where we stand as a world, as a conscious age that we are birthing into. And this is how Nabi Isa in your stories, tales, yani, okay, has returned. He's there, he's here. Yani, he's the Mahdi, he's the Ahmad, he's everyone. Because he takes you to the stage of the sealness, who you come to your highest level of your consciousness. So at the moment, people, it's not an easy process because 90% of the things that you believe has been invalidated prior to in time of COVID psychologically. Okay, most of you cannot detach because you still believe that you're going to heaven with your body. So that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because you had to get your clearance that everything you ever know in your life is only mental. It's only your mental construct. Your Jannah, your Jahannam, your Shaitan, your Allah, everything is in your mind. It's not outside of your mind. It's how you have been modeled by your educational curriculums, your financial status, your color, your the magical spells that was run over three formulas: the money magic, the sex magic, and then the blood magic. That's the spells that where you went through in your evolution. So you have to get your permit. You have to get permit to leave that age. Okay. What has subsequently also taken place as when you remember, I'm going to just finish up now. Remember in the allegory of when the angels comes to Ibrahim and he then prepares a big kabsh, a big meal. Okay, that big meal was us people. That was we got part of that meal of the transformations that is coming into earth. Okay, فَأَوْجَسَ فِي نَفْسِهِ خِيفَةً, right? Then he discovered that he is being set it up for something else, and that was what he was being told, and we were being told because we are in the constellation of transformation of Ibrahim does the migration. You are going through a migrational period from one psychology to a new psychology. Okay, so that is happening in the heavens. You can't stop it because it's through your breath. That is where the solar flares that you are now entering into your body. That is where it's either destroying your dead cell brains or it is upgrading it and clearing yourself. In most times, the Allah is Ar-Rahman, but in the age of this is Ar-Rahim. Okay, you have to find the ya between the high and the mean. Okay, now we understand this evolution through sound, through Ismail. We don't understand it through another human being because there's no more middleman. Middleman fell. You got to go straight to source, right? It's, as I said again, it's difficult. It's not easy. It's only for those who has qualified. Yani, that is the true people that Bani Israel, everybody was asking, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ. When is it going to come the time that we have to be ready for this transformation where our psychology was going to be voided and we're going to be loaded in new set of eyes? Okay, this was the time. This was the time. And as you all correctly know, no religion could save it because they were too much infiltrated and watered down by governmental structures and financial institutions. Okay? That God that you are believing in, whichever religion, is a God that loves money, preys on money, and he separates each other and on the grades of your class as to your money. Okay? Most of you cannot live without money because you rather want to die. So then you will become conscious when that God disappears. That's the big God that Ibrahim leaves behind. Okay? So when Lut, you are the comb of Lut, it's not the 1%. When legislation comes down from the heaven through the Quran, it doesn't speak about 1% of humanity. Less than 1% has gone physically transhuman, but 99%, oh, I wouldn't say 99%, but the biggest chunk of that last civilization that was flawed was because they became Qawmulut. They were the Qawmulut. They didn't know who they were anymore. They became the physical vessels, the corpses of that subjects of that dead world, okay, where they could not find the true mother, okay. That is why Lut's wife here is your feminine side. It's got nothing to do with a physical prophet. It's everything about your evolution, okay. You could not reach in. They did not give you entrance because your nature was corrupted. Okay, you couldn't find entrance in. If you want to die, you have to go in. You can't go out. Because when you are out, you are saqim. Inni saqim. That's what Ibrahim says. When you take maut, mim, waw, ta, and you put it onto the scale of saqim, it becomes mustaqim. Okay? These are the ways how the Quran now is busy unfolding her truth, which is deep, people. It's very deep, that sea. But just for you and I to understand that there's been a reset in psychology and that your own belief system across the border as a human fraternity is no longer self-sustainable for this new age where you are now economically, physiologically going through a major collapse. Lots of earthquakes happening. It's only happening on the inside, okay? The earthquakes, the volcanoes, the universe lives within you because everything that you see outside is first inside, okay? But because you've been of the Qawmul Lut, you were not asked to be, you had to make the dua, Rabbi akhrijni min qaryati, akhriju ala lutin innahum qawmun yatatahharun. The Quran gives you all the spells that you had to use to exit. But as we are like, we have to, while we come in as people that needs to now reform the psychology of the new civilization that is now coming for the next yawman or ba'da yawm. We put it between 1,000 to 1,400 years. You can't say 100 and 1,500 years because bid'ah is less than 5. Okay? The Muhammad Risala is not 1,500. The Muhammad Risala is eternal where there is no time. Allah doesn't reside in time. It's Shaitan that is conflicted in the time zones that we are living through. Okay? So you are now in the Ahmad age, the return of the Isa conscious, and you cannot believe in a Rasul if you did not embrace the stage of Isa bin Maryam. Okay? He's a Rasul. يعني لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله. You cannot jump the gun, you guys. You have to go through the natural process. Okay? So may Allah give you a barakat, keep safe, please. Keep your eyes open, and they seated you now in a AI camera. So you must understand the evolutions that is coming onto the Sayyara. You know the Sayyara, because your car stuck before 2019 and a new car now, a new vehicle, a new body is now in motion. So Allah says, Tasla naran hamia. Where does Tasla comes from? Tesla. Okay? They get all this stuff from the Quran, but obviously we don't understand the spells. So now you're going into a very physical, dynamic evolution of digitalization and press of a button and all these kind of magical tricks, and you are forfeiting and you are substituting artificial intelligence and forfeiting your divine intelligence. That's the end of the age. Okay, for you as a lineage, if you cannot cross over, it means you have bunked your entire ancestors, because you are the last of your ancestors in this age. There's no other representation. So if the lights didn't go on inside by you, it means that that was the end of your lineage, regardless of how many are still to come, because you put off the lights. Okay, the next age where we come in now is that we remodel the psychology and the human natural order. Okay, this is done cosmologically, people. It's Nia. Nobody knows Nia. Okay, you cannot see the Nia. It's energy. All right. So this is how the evolution is going, because the whole is inside. It's above, inside, above. Okay, you are fighting it physically, where you are harnessing energy, and your real energy is being forfeited by your adversary, and that's why you are living through a cube, a four-cornered digital screen, where your data is feeding you subject to your level of your maturity and your evolution. So this is raw material. It's just a personal understanding, as one gets the understanding that most of us couldn't understand the book. Okay, our books. So we read our books, and this is how we interpret it in this time of consciousness. May Allah give you barakat. Enjoy the beautiful day, and Allah accept all your du'as. Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa
يا مصطفى كل شيء